Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping straight back into the incredible journey of Fanny, author of Hitchhike. Last time we explored her conquering her fear of open water. Now, for someone from landlocked Hungary, deliberately plunging into the ocean, well, it might seem random, but as you'll see, for Fanny, it was about tackling something much bigger than just the water.
Exactly. And what's really compelling here is that Fanny's swim, it wasn't just about overcoming a specific phobia. It was a strategic move to challenge fear itself. She kind of wanted to prove she could confront it rather than avoid it.
Right.
For you, our listener, who values getting to the heart of things efficiently, Fanny's experience offers, well, a powerful lesson in breaking down personal barriers and the profound insights that come from pushing your limits.
Right. And the moment she jumped, a powerful realization hit her. It wasn't the ocean itself, but the perceived danger programmed into me through negative experiences. Think about that for a second. How often are your current fears actually echoes of past events, shaping your reactions without you even realizing it?
That connects to something really insightful Fanny mentions, the unattended garden. Imagine negative memories as weeds. If left alone, they can just take over. Weakening the very foundation you're trying to build.
Yeah.
These unchallenged past experiences can become your default way of seeing the world.
And that jump, she called it a wrecking ball. What a vivid image. It wasn't just about getting over being afraid of water. It was about demolishing those shaky, fear-based beliefs that were holding her back from becoming who she wanted to be, someone unburdened by unnecessary anxieties from the past.
This raises a key distinction. The difference between caution and fear. Fanny astutely points out that caution is about being level-headed, a rational assessment of risk. Fear, on the other hand, can be completely paralyzing, driven by emotion rather than logic.
Right.
So while her anxiety around water wasn't instantly gone, that jump was a significant step towards what she terms emotional freedom. What might that look like for you, that sense of liberation from paralyzing fears?
So, having faced this huge fear, Fanny reaches the shore of this tiny island. And she talks about the incredible feeling of sand under her feet, that immediate connection to the land, bringing a sense of calm, smooth emotions, as she describes it.
What's interesting here is the immediate shift in her focus. The intense internal struggle with fear gives way to the external social scene of this isolated place.
Yeah.
This transition from a deeply personal challenge to a vibrant community gathering really highlights how much our surroundings can impact our emotional state. Have you ever noticed how a change of scenery can just instantly lift your spirits?
Totally. And she's immediately struck by the people she meets, their wildly different backgrounds, the fascinating question of what brought them to this remote spot. She says everyone's story was jaw-dropping, even hers about hitchhiking across the Atlantic by boat. This little island sounds like a real crossroads of incredible lives.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, these unexpected encounters often give us new perspectives and challenge our own ideas of what's normal or extraordinary. It underscores the power of curiosity and engaging with people whose experiences are different from our own.
Then, as day turns into night, the vibe changes. Coconut water is replaced by pina coladas, and this impromptu party kicks off. And in the middle of it all, Fanny has this really profound moment, feeling more alive, more connected, more carefree, more lighthearted than on that night away from the world. It sounds almost like a dream.
It does, but what's particularly insightful is her awareness that feeling this sense of alignment is often easier when you're removed from the everyday distractions and responsibilities. The real test, as she notes, is maintaining that connection when you're back home, dealing with work, family, and, the usual demands of life.
Exactly. She calls this island experience a benchmark, a reference point she could mentally revisit during tough times back home. That memory of feeling completely aligned served as a sort of internal compass. Have you ever had an experience like that, a moment you mentally returned to for strength?
However, she also touches on a common frustration. The initial difficulty of recreating that feeling without the specific circumstances that created it. We often mistakenly believe that our positive emotions are tied to particular places or situations.
But her key realization here is so important for you to think about. The feeling is not place, time, or condition bound. That sense of inner peace and connection isn't limited to a beautiful island with cocktails and music. It's something you can cultivate within yourself, regardless of your surroundings.
Precisely. This is a powerful shift in perspective. It moves the focus from external factors to your own internal state, empowering you to take more control over your emotional well-being. How might that change how you approach challenging situations if you truly believed that your inner peace wasn't dependent on external things?
Okay, so from this island escape, Fanny and Lara set sail again, this time towards the Dominican Republic, the final destination for this part of their journey. The crew, meanwhile, was continuing on to the Bahamas and Miami, places they were intentionally avoiding.
What's interesting here is the anticipation of a new chapter. While the boat journey is ending for Fanny and Lara, it's the start of their exploration of a new continent. There's this feeling of closure to one significant experience and excitement for the unknowns ahead. Have you ever felt that mix of emotions when one big phase of life ends and another begins?
Oh, definitely. But they didn't immediately jump ship. They spent a few more nights on board, anchored near the Dominican Republic. And as the moment to say goodbye to the boat approached, Fanny describes these conflicting feelings: relief from the physical discomfort, but also a sense of loss for the safety of the known after those intense 3 weeks in close quarters.
hmm This really highlights a common human experience when any significant journey or period comes to an end. Even if it was challenging, a sense of familiarity and security often develops, and stepping into the completely unknown can feel quite unsettling.
And she even admits to a vow: "I would never get on a boat again." I think we've all had those moments after a particularly difficult experience, haven't we?
Oh, for sure.
But she quickly puts it into perspective, realizing that those weeks of hardship were ultimately worth it compared to the emotional struggles she faced before.
That's a really powerful shift in perspective. It underscores the idea that short-term discomfort or challenges can often lead to significant long-term growth and a greater sense of freedom.
So they finally arrive in Latin America, hitchhiking across the Atlantic by boat. What an entrance to a new continent, as she puts it. And then the reality hits. No solid plans, no set timeline, no idea where they'll sleep that night. Just the wide-open unknown.
Wow. This speaks to a particular mindset, doesn't it? A willingness to embrace uncertainty that is often a key part of truly transformative journeys. It requires a certain level of trust in yourself and in the way things will unfold. Is that something you find easy to embrace, or do you prefer a more structured approach?
Good question. Their immediate decision to hop on the first bus, heading towards a city that looks reasonably sized on the map, hoping to find some hostels. And this is where the culture shock really hits. Fanny, who's never encountered a transportation system quite like this.
What's fascinating here is the immediate immersion into a completely different cultural reality. The lack of formal bus stops, the informal system of flagging down the bus wherever it happens to be, paying someone hanging out the door. It's a stark contrast to more standardized systems and requires a significant adjustment in expectations.
And getting off the bus sounds just as unpredictable, just yelling at the driver to stop wherever you need. She talks about the transition from sea legs to land legs, and now needing to develop bus legs. It really paints a vivid picture of this chaotic, but undoubtedly memorable experience.
It certainly highlights the sensory overload and the need to quickly adapt to new physical and logistical realities when you're traveling in unfamiliar environments. It's a reminder that even simple things like transportation can be vastly different across cultures.
Then comes the communication hurdle. Limited Spanish vocabulary, trying to get directions, and here's a crucial lesson she learns, one that would pop up again and again. Just because I asked a question and got a confident answer, that did not mean I got the right answer. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, absolutely. This is a really insightful observation about cultural communication styles. The tendency to avoid saying, "I don't know," while perhaps stemming from a desire to be helpful or maybe to save face, can lead to significant confusion for those unfamiliar with the custom.
And she really emphasizes how it took her months to learn to distinguish between a genuinely correct answer and one delivered with confidence, but completely wrong. It taught her so much about relying on her intuition, paying attention to nonverbal cues. It's almost like learning a whole new layer of communication beyond just the spoken words.
Exactly. It forces you to become more attuned to subtle signals, to trust your gut feeling when something doesn't quite align. It's a valuable skill that goes far beyond just navigating directions in a new country. It's about learning to read between the lines, really.
But instead of getting frustrated by being misled, Fanny chooses to see it as part of the backpacking adventure, like a game within a maze. This positive attitude seems so crucial, doesn't it? Believing that people generally have good intentions, even if their information isn't accurate.
This speaks volumes about resilience and a mindset of acceptance. Rather than focusing on the inconvenience, she reframes it as part of the overall experience, allowing her to adapt more easily to local customs and maintain a sense of humor throughout the challenges. It's quite remarkable.
And eventually, through this process of trial and error, they do finally make it to Las Terrenas. and the first hostel they find sets the bar incredibly high. Friendly owners, breakfast included, well-ventilated rooms, stylish tropical design. It sounds like a real oasis after their adventurous journey.
It really highlights that element of serendipity in travel, doesn't it? After navigating some unpredictable challenges, stumbling upon such a welcoming and comfortable place can feel like a significant reward, a moment of unexpected ease.
But even in this relative comfort, Fanny is still testing her own boundaries, sharing a bedroom with multiple strangers in bunk beds for the first time, and her financial concerns start to surface. She's hesitant to fully embrace the amenities, looking for ways to keep costs down.
Mm-hmm. This reveals a vulnerability and a stage in her journey where financial insecurity still played a significant role in her decisions. It's a reminder that even amidst exciting new experiences, ingrained habits and anxieties can still be present. Can you relate to that feeling of wanting to embrace new experiences, but still having practical concerns in the back of your mind?
Oh, definitely. And her solution, asking the owner for a cheaper option and ending up setting up a tent inside the building. She even acknowledges how funny it must have looked. It really highlights her resourcefulness, but also her relative inexperience with backpacking at that point and those underlying financial worries.
It's a wonderful illustration of her willingness to step outside of conventional norms in pursuit of her goals, even if it means a slightly unconventional living arrangement. It's a tangible example of prioritizing the experience and her independence over traditional comforts. Quite something.
So to quickly recap this fascinating part of Fanny's journey, we've seen her go from overcoming a major personal fear in the vast ocean to navigating the often chaotic and unpredictable realities of a new continent, encountering unexpected challenges and some really insightful cultural differences along the way.
And for you listening, there's some really powerful takeaways here. The incredible power of directly confronting your fears, the vital importance of maintaining perspective when things don't go according to plan, the unexpected but invaluable lessons that often emerge from new and unfamiliar experiences, and that crucial understanding that your inner sense of peace and alignment is ultimately something you cultivate within yourself, not something dictated by your external circumstances.
Absolutely. And looking ahead to our next deep dive, we'll be exploring Fanny's further adventures as she delves deeper into this new world and a significant personal development. Her decision to reintroduce romantic relationships into her life after a period of intentional focus on her own willpower and independence. We'll even be dropping hints about the special person who helped her let down her guard.
This brings us to a final thought for you to consider. Think about a time in your life when you felt that deep sense of alignment, that inner peace and connection, or perhaps reflect on a seemingly negative past experience that might still be subtly influencing your thoughts and actions today. What weeds in your own mental garden might you need to bring into the light to examine more closely?